The sequel to Mel Gibson's The Passion of the Christ has been confirmed, but it seems like it will stir up more controversy. The original film, released in 2004, was a huge success globally, especially among American evangelicals. It was inspired by the Gospel of John, incorporating Catholic traditions and visions from Anne Catherine Emmerich. However, it faced criticism for alleged anti-Semitism, fueled by controversies surrounding Gibson himself. Since 2004, Gibson has talked about continuing the story with a sequel. The Passion of the Christ was a significant biblical epic, making it no surprise that Gibson is considering turning it into a loose franchise. In an era where franchises often outshine individual actors and directors, it remains uncertain if Gibson can recreate the success and appeal to the same evangelical audience that embraced the first movie. Many may not be aware that the upcoming Mel Gibson film, officially titled The Passion of the Christ Resurrection, will be more extensive than initially thought. Recent updates reveal that the official IMDb page title was altered to The Passion of the Christ Resurrection Part 1 in early November 2023, suggesting it will be a multi-part film. Jim Caviezel, who is returning to play the role of Jesus, mentioned that it could potentially be 2 films, and there's a chance it might even extend to 3, though he leans towards it being a 2-part series. Now in the process of filming since spring 2023, the sequel to The Passion of the Christ has been making significant strides. Star Jim Caviezel enthusiastically revealed that the script had been finalized in September 2020. He boldly claimed that this sequel would be the biggest film in world history, generating heightened anticipation among fans. Mel Gibson, the director, collaborated with Randall Wallace on the script. Wallace expressed his interest in the sequel as early as 2016, stating, "I always wanted to tell this story. The Passion is the beginning, and there's a lot more story to tell. The evangelical community considers The Passion the biggest movie ever out of Hollywood, and they kept telling us that they think a sequel will be even bigger." The enthusiasm from key figures involved in the project, coupled with the anticipation from the evangelical community, adds an extra layer of excitement to the upcoming film. As production moves forward, audiences are eager to see how this ambitious sequel unfolds and whether it lives up to the high expectations set by its predecessor. One major headline from The Passion of the Christ 2 updates is the anticipated return of Jim Caviezel as Jesus. After the success of the first film, Caviezel ventured into various projects, including TV shows like Outlander, The Prisoner, and Person of Interest. He also returned to biblical epics with Paul, Apostle of Christ, playing Luke alongside James Faulkner's Paul. Caviezel has been actively involved in discussions about Passion of the Christ Resurrection, openly discussing the script since 2020. Surprisingly, several cast members from the original film, which is over 20 years old, are also making a comeback to continue the epic biblical story. Maia Morgenstern, known for her role in The Seventh Room, is reportedly reprising her crucial role as Mary, the mother of Jesus. Francesco DeVito, recognized for his part in The Man from U.N.C.L.E., will once again portray Peter, one of Jesus' well-known apostles. Christo Gikov from In Memory of Me is rumored to be returning as John, whose gospel served as the basis for the Passion of the Christ. However, it remains uncertain whether Monica Bellucci and Rosalinda Celentano will reprise their roles as Magdalene and Satan, respectively. As the ensemble takes shape, fans are eager to witness how this sequel continues the powerful narrative established in the original film. The unfolding story of the Passion of the Christ Resurrection seems to take a logical approach, considering Christian beliefs in Jesus' death and resurrection. The first film concluded with a brief glimpse of the resurrected Jesus, making the sequel a natural continuation. However, reports suggest that the resurrection itself may not be the primary focus. Instead, the film is expected to delve into the 3 days between Jesus' death and resurrection, a period where many Christians believe Jesus descended into hell. The decision to focus on these 3 days opens up the possibility for scenes that go beyond what is explicitly stated in the Bible, a trend that was present in the Passion of the Christ. The sequel may draw inspiration from Catholic visionaries like Mary of Jesus of Agreda and Anne Catherine Emmerich. Of particular significance is Emmerich's vision, known as the harrowing of hell, where Jesus descends into hell, breaks down its walls and declares war on the devil and his kingdom. While these events are alluded to in a few Bible verses, they are not extensively detailed, leading to debates among Christians. If Mel Gibson indeed chooses to focus on the harrowing of hell, he may face challenges in uniting evangelicals behind him, as this concept has generated varying opinions within the Christian community. Nonetheless, the sequel promises to explore a unique perspective on the biblical narrative, introducing elements that go beyond the explicit biblical accounts. As details emerge, audiences eagerly anticipate how Gibson will navigate the delicate balance between biblical accuracy and creative interpretation in The Passion of the Christ Resurrection. Mel Gibson's 2004 film gained immense popularity among Christian audiences despite incorporating scenes not directly from the Bible. Despite Gibson's claim of being inspired by Scripture, the movie took creative liberties, adding content for artistic effect and drawing from the visions of Catholic mystics like Mary of Jesus of Nazareth and Anne Catherine Emmerich. One notable scene in the film involves a flashback where Jesus is depicted inventing tables and chairs. While little is known about Jesus' life between childhood and the beginning of his public ministry, this particular scene is entirely fictional. It serves to highlight the closeness between Jesus and his mother Mary, implying that Jesus' divine knowledge influenced him throughout his life. Another scene in The Passion of the Christ portrays Mary Magdalene as the woman caught in adultery, a powerful moment from the Gospels. However, the Bible does not specify that the adulterous woman in this story is Mary Magdalene, one of Jesus' devout apostles. This conflation of two biblical women is a Catholic tradition but is questioned by modern Bible scholars. These creative additions to the narrative may surprise non-Catholic viewers unfamiliar with the visions of Mary of Jesus of Nazareth and Anne Catherine Emmerich. While some scenes provide visual embellishments to the story, others deviate significantly from biblical accounts. The Passion of the Christ remains a unique cinematic interpretation, blending Scripture with artistic interpretation and Catholic traditions. In The Passion of the Christ, Mel Gibson transforms the biblical account of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane into the moment of temptation. In the Bible, Jesus goes to the garden to pray, preparing for the upcoming crucifixion. However, influenced by Anne Catherine Emmerich's interpretation, Gibson portrays the devil tempting Jesus in the garden, attempting to dissuade him from going to the cross. This depiction aligns with Emmerich's vision, where the devil is present and Jesus resists the temptation, symbolically crushing a serpent beneath his heel, a reference to Genesis, the first messianic prophecy in the Bible. This scene engages with a theological tension in the Bible, as some verses suggest the devil initially tried to persuade Jesus to avoid the cross. When Jesus remained committed to his sacrificial death, Satan attacked with full force. The Passion of the Christ attempts to add additional scenes to the story of Judas Iscariot. Emphasizing that Judas was manipulated by Satan into betraying Jesus, the film diverges from the biblical narrative. In the movie, when Judas greets Jesus in the garden, he leads a large group of Jewish temple guards. In reality, given the political and religious tensions in Israel, the Romans would not have allowed the Jews to assemble such a private army. According to the Gospels, Judas was accompanied by a crowd of armed men. The film's adaptation adds a layer of complexity to Judas's role, framing him as a manipulated figure in the unfolding events leading to Jesus' crucifixion. Well, that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comments below.